Yeah, my name's Dimmock. My friend Jan. I've been bombarded by emails and such asking if I would do a harnessing demonstration and make it into a DVD. So we thought we'd do a few short ones for YouTube first. We'll start with collar, fitting, and then putting on such, and then we'll get right to the meat of the harness. Okay. When it comes to fitting a collar, first of all you got to decide what style of a neck your horse has. Whether it has a fairly thick crested neck here like the mare does, or whether it's fairly flat and hollowed out like the thoroughbred. That'll get you to start whether you pick a full Sweeney, half Sweeney, or a full face collar. This mare takes a full Sweeney collar because she's fairly thick muscled right here, and yet she's fairly flat here. So you want a collar that's cut out quite a bit to cover that. To guess the size, the best way is to get one of those cloth seamstress tapes. You feel the neck and find the seam where the neck and the shoulder join, which is right there. It's in a spot right there. And you follow the shoulder up until you get to the top of the withers. You take your cloth measuring tape and you hold it at that seam, and you follow it all the way up and pinch it off. Pull your cloth tape tight, and we come up with 24 inches. So now we'll go to the collar. As I said with the mare, she was going to take a full Sweeney collar. This part of your collar being called the Sweeney, and it's cut out quite a ways to allow for that room for that really thick muscle up high. We measured our horse to fit a collar 24 inches. Where you measure the collar is from the inside to the bottom. It should come out to 24 inches. With the sweat pad on, it should still come out to 24 inches. So that means if you're going to use a pad, you're likely going to have to go with a slightly larger collar. The reason we use a pad is to disperse surface area pressure. You take that narrow spot there, you add a pad, and you've added that much surface area, so it's less pressure on each square inch of that horse's skin, which keeps it from deteriorating faster. Pad should be longer than the collar by 1 inch. So it allows not too much of a gap at the bottom. That's about as far as you want to go. You can even get closer, so it's down to only a couple inches wide at the bottom. When we put our collars on, because I use a sweat pad, I don't unbuckle my collars. I just undo the halter shank and place it over it. We lay the collar flat and just tip it over her head. With a lot of horses, you can do that because their heads are shaped well enough to do it. If you have one that's really wide, then you'll have to rotate your collar upside down to put it on. If you want to check your fit of your collar, you pull it down onto the shoulder of the horse and rock it. And see if it rocks and pivoting on a high spot. If it's pivoting, then it's likely it's right on that muscle up the top here. And you want your collar fairly short. You want to be able to just get your hand in at the bottom. It's almost impossible to choke a horse with a collar. Then you want to chase the top of the collar to the bottom, make sure there's no tight spots, and you should be able to get the width of your fingers in there. Make sure you pull your hair out from underneath when you harness them so that it doesn't create a gulp. We hang our harness up so that the britch and seat is always down. We never hang our britch and seat up because it causes it to crease and wrinkle, which can cause a sore on the horse's bum. We always hang our back pads up. That keeps the belly band from laying in the manure. And we always hang it on a straight peg. There's other ways of doing it, but this one works well for us. So we'll pick it off. We always grab the hames down low and we're ready to harness our horse. Are you ready? When we go to harness our horse, we make sure our hames are open from up high, and we'll walk up and place it right on the collar and throw the hames into the seat. Then we'll push the rest over. The belly band, tugs, and the breeching system. They're all set up on top. Then we come around the front. We make sure our hames are level. You do that by feeling for the wear pad on the collar. And we use a chain hame fastener. Then we do up the breast strap. We take our martingale, we set it on top of our belly band. We do up our quarter strap. We pull the breeching seat down, pull the tail over. And we do up our last quarter strap. Okay, when we talk about fitted hames, they should fit from the top all the way to the bottom without any gaps. Normally your hames are at least 1 or 2 sizes larger than your collar. So if you have a 24-inch collar, you likely want to order 26-inch hames. And that allows you to have some adjustment at the top. And it allows the hame to fit the collar the whole distance. And you'll find your tug will end up in the proper wear spot, which is about 1/3 from the bottom or 2/3 from the top. The next adjustment we generally make is to our tug. Your tug should come off your hame at a 90-degree angle. If it angles up, it has a tendency to pull up on your collar and choke your horse. If it angles down, it has a tendency to pull down at the top of your collar and make a sore up there. So to make your horse very comfortable and pull the best for you for average working conditions, you want that tug at a 90. To do so, use your back pad and your belly band. To make the adjustment, we shorten our back pad up until the tug's laid at 90, and then we suck our belly band up to keep the tug from getting too high. It's not a cinch, it shouldn't be tight, but it should be snug to keep your tug in place. That way, whatever you're hooking onto can be higher or slightly lower, but your tug remains at a 90 to the shoulder at all times. We'll describe the setting of a Western breeching harness, which is probably the most commonly used for most people. The big misunderstanding for a lot of these is they don't quite grasp the concept that it should work like a basket. It's not a twin neck yoke harness, so all the pull doesn't come from the breeching seat, hence the narrower seat. The whole thing is to work like a basket. And most common misadjustment for these is having the ring too far forward. For it to be properly fitted, you should feel for the points of your horse's hip on both sides. Draw a line across the top, and your ring should be just behind that. That allows your drop straps to fall into the proper place so that you can adjust them so that they'll be the same length and remain level. The next adjustment that you should do is to your breeching seat, and it should be just above center between your dock and your hock. If it's too low, when they go to back, it's going to scoop their legs out from behind them. If it's too high, it's going to have a tendency to ride up over their butt while they try and back. So to measure it, we go from where the tail hairs start at the top of the dock, and measure it to the point of the hock. You can fold it in half if you like. Put that same measurement back, and your breeching seat should lay just above the center line, which it does. That way, when your quarter straps pull on your breeching seat, you can see it makes a whole basket. Ready? Is it filming? Mm-hmm. This one here is a pretty simple adjustment that's often out of whack. This is called a tug carrier, mud strap, lazy strap, lots of names for it, but all it basically does is carry the tug so when you're at rest, the tug doesn't fall down and she can step on it. That said, it shouldn't be tight, but it shouldn't be all doubled over loose either. You set it so that each implement you're working on, it carries the tug nicely. The bridle is one of the simple things to do if it's done right, and one of the hardest things to do if it's done improperly. One of the things we do for our horses up north here in the winter is we tape our bits with hockey tape or white tape. That allows the bit not to freeze to their lips when you bridle them. And I have too many harnesses to carry all my bridles in the barn or into the house. When we go to bridle, I put the bridle on the top of my left hand, and I reach over with my right hand and grab the top. I then put my fingers on the bit and my thumb on the side and pull up when she opens. Then reach across and put the far ear in first. That way the most difficult ear is easiest to do when the bridle's loose, and then put this ear in after. Pull it across and make sure you do up your throat latch. throat latches should be done up snug. The object of the throat latch is to keep your bridle from being pulled off. If your throat latch is dragging down loose and you can pull your bridle off, then the throat latch is doing nothing. The next thing we do is we do up our chin chain. To set our bridle, we adjust our crown strap up or down until the blinder rests with the eye in the center on both sides. The blinder should be set so that it can't rub on the eyelashes as well. If it does, then you need to have your harness maker adjust your bridle to fit your horse. The next adjustment was made here is your bit. Your bit should rest comfortably in the corner of the horse's mouth. It shouldn't have 6 wrinkles or 2 wrinkles. Just rest nice and comfortably. Because your line's being pulled all the time, extra pressure will be set. Another one that should be adjusted properly is your chin chain. It's one of those kill with kindness. You're actually not doing the horse any favor by letting the chin chain too loose. When you pull back, your bit should end up square with the world, not stuck straight back, and not so tight that the bit can't rotate. If it's actually let too loose, your bit can actually pop over center like a chain boomer, which is very uncomfortable for the horse. The bits we use are lever bits, and the reason we use them is they're adjustable. We can put them in here, which is the same as in the bar, or we can move them down to get more purchase on the line. The reason we use them is because not every time every horse drives the same, and this allows us to, when we're driving them in teams of 2 or more, allows us to have consistent line pressure. The bit cannot break a horse's mouth, because the very moment that this flimsy little chin chain is unhooked or comes apart, then there's no more leverage left on the bridle. And it only takes about 20 pounds to straighten out the hook. So it's impossible to break a horse's jaw with these. And be mindful, the bit's only as rough as the person using it. The final and last adjustment to harness is usually made after you're hooked up. And it's your martingale or pole strap, which is the one on the bottom, and your breast strap, which is this one here. Your martingale is your brakes. So when your horse is leaning back on the load, as they are now, the only pressure that should be on any strap should be on your martingale or pole strap. Your breast strap shouldn't be tight. If your breast strap is tight, the pull is pulled on the top of the collar, and they actually back the load with the collar. I'll demonstrate this, but for the proper adjustment, you should let your pole strap out till that your breast strap is in line or just slightly ahead of your hames, and your breast strap should be let out till that your martingale can run mostly flat out from underneath your horse. And as you can see, it would be impossible for that horse to bang its knees on the neck yoke. This is the proper adjustment for wagon driving. It's not used for plowing or mowing hay. Now, this is the most common misadjustment. Very short breast strap, big long martingale. Now the horse is leaning back into the load, and you can see the breast strap is tight and the martingale is loose. What's the point of having a martingale if they're backing it with their collar? The martingale is attached to the breeching, and the breeching is supposed to do the backing. So if you take the time to make the adjustment so that you let your martingale out, so that your breast strap's in line, and let your breast strap down to your martingales flat out, you'll end up with tight martingales and loose breast straps. Croupers should always be buckled back up after you take them off, otherwise they lay open and stretch, and when you close them they wrinkle. Now that it has wrinkles, it will make a sore underneath the horse's tail fairly rapidly. Croupers should be set so that they're just loose, snug almost, when the horse stands level at rest. Not loose, not floppy, not tight so that they're holding their tail head up. Just nice, just so you can get your hand underneath and lift up.